Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Praveen here. I hope you guys are extremely doing good. So this is week 2, day 9, where we will be watching the complete AWS DevOps pipeline. So I have two setup of projects here, which will help you in understanding what exactly your role as an AWS DevOps engineer is and how you can build your own pipeline. And this project itself, we are going to do live in coming classes. I hope I'm making it sense, and it is free freshers and experienced DevOps and SRE job ready course. This is basically a free course which I'm running for 30 days, and I'm trying my best to release each video a day, and we are at day 9, right? I hope I'm extremely giving the good content. Any feedback, any comments, any queries, put it on the comment section, and all the important links are in the description also. You can watch the YouTube channel here. You can watch the playlist of all the videos, your Kubernetes week 1 videos and week 2 AWS videos. You can watch there. The Telegram link of same like-minded people is also there, so that you understand, like, when a person is putting a comment in Telegram channel, how you can help, right? Or a person is sharing some kind of documents, how you can grab those documents and understand from those. Everything is very much important. This is my Instagram. You can connect with me here. Any queries, you can put it here, because here less number of comments come into place, so I tend to reply here more. And this is my website. Stay tuned. There are many more things coming up here. So let's go to the slide number 2, where I will show you what exactly your AWS DevOps or your CI/CD pipeline is all about, right? So let's see, like, what exactly you need to do here, and what are the various components you can understand. From week 1, week 2, you are getting day by day closer to your DevOps jobs, right? And from here you see there is a pipeline which I have placed, right? There is a code, there is a build phase. Let's call this as phases of CI/CD. Right? In the phases of CI/CD, you will understand what is code phase, what is build phase, what is test phase, what is deploy phase, what is provision phase, and what is monitor phase. And for each of the phase, you will find a tool or a service given by AWS. Now, you see here the code commit. This code commit is similar to your GitHub repository or your Bitbucket repository, right? Or your GitLab repository, right? Any kind of repository on AWS resembles to your code commit. Very, very similar to your GitHub, where you place your code or push your code, clone your code, right? So basically, you can assume, like, if you have a GitHub account and you want to push the code into the code commit, AWS code commit, you use something like your mirroring concept in your GitHub, right? Basically with your git command, and you can push the same code to AWS code commit, right? Very, very simple. Now there is one more service given by AWS, that is your code pipeline. Now this code pipeline is similar to your Jenkins pipeline, your GitLab pipeline, right? Or your Argo pipelines, any kind of things. It resembles the same. Basically, it forms your pipeline where all the services are interlinked with each other, which we will see as we go ahead in the next, maybe you can consider like next set of you can say like diagrams or your projects, right? So you see there are something like your test phase, deploy phase, provision phase, and monitor phase. You can consider like we can use various kinds of environments, and as I have already told you, Elastic Beanstalk is a environment provision service. So it gives the entire environment for your jar, for your var, for your you can say like Python project, for your Node.js project build folder, any kind of project. It gives the entire environment for it to run. Let's take, what does the environment play an important role? Like, what does the environment means? Basically an OS, a system setup, right? Any other softwares it needs to be installed, right? So basically whatever it is needed for your jar or a var or any kind of software application to be run, this Elastic Beanstalk is very important. Elastic Container Service, EC2 Elastic Container Service basically EC2 as a container service, not ECS. So EC2 as a container service, you take an EC2 instance, deploy your Docker here and make it a container service, and you deploy all your applications directly onto this. So basically this code pipeline, whatever it generates, the jar or var, those things are directly deployed on your container service. You have ops works, which will help you for your operational work related things, through which you can also deploy, right? And I think because of this, you are not able to see. There is a cloud formation, and let me make it a little bit clear for you. Let me make it this side, and let me make it, okay, not this one, sorry. Let me make it a little bit down, or let me make it here, right? Okay, let me make it here, right? Okay. Okay, let me clear this. Where is that? Okay, so many things, because you are asking me to put this one. So like you wanted me to have this subtitle, so I have kept it here for your understanding. So let's see, like there is a code deploy, AWS commit you have seen similar to your GitHub, code pipeline similar to your Jenkins, code deploy similar to your services like your Ansible, which helps in deployment, similar to your, maybe you can consider like your Puppet, which helps in the deployment, or any kind of shell script, Python script, which goes to various kinds of environments and try to deploy. This is your code deploy. It can deploy in S3 bucket. It can deploy in EC2. It can deploy in ECS. Any kind of service you want to deploy, you have to integrate with this. So basically every service is like your integration. Cloud formation, I have already told you. This is the service which helps in provision of infra in AWS, right? Infra in AWS, that is your cloud formation, and with which you will have a cloud formation template, right? Now, CloudWatch is basically a monitoring tool similar to your Prometheus, to your Grafana, right, to your Splunk. Everything comes here, and you can have some alerts and metrics set for you. So provision is basically cloud formation T template. Monitor, you have CloudWatch. Deploy, you have code deploy, right? Test you can have in the code pipeline itself, build also in code pipeline, and code commit is similar to your something you can say like GitHub, right? So I'm making it sense. Let's move forward. Let's see like what is the first pipeline project which is set for you, so that you get an idea like what exactly you are going to do in AWS. Let me put it in down so that you get a clarity, right? Okay, let's keep it here. Okay, today so many things are there, so let's keep it there. Okay, now see, I have also told you what is an AWS diagram, what exactly this means. Now you see there is a AWS cloud. This is basically resembling all your AWS infrastructure. You have your VPC, virtual private cloud, and all your services are running under your virtual private cloud. So this is basically a green layer on top of it, and there is a yellow layer. Basically, this yellow layer is your internal services getting assigned in VPC. Now you see there are some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So let's consider like how the structure in AWS is formed. What are the things you need to make sure you should be knowing? So let's start how it is working. So there is an account associated with AWS. So I am into my account, right? Account A is there and account B is there. Account A is development account inside the VPC. Account B is production account inside the same VPC. So there are two accounts you need to understand: development region and production region. Now let's understand how this entire process starts. There is a user, which is a IAM user. So I have already told you in your Kubernetes class, and in your next classes also I have told and I have shown you how you can create your IAM user. So with that IAM user, you create step 1, infrastructure provisioning automation with cloud formation pipeline.yaml using CLI. Now, what is this YAML? This YAML is basically the template. So basically cloud formation template, right? Which helps in creating the infrastructure. Now, cloud formation template runs with the help of various other services. And this cloud formation template or cloud formation pipeline.yaml helps you in the complete setting up your architecture for this particular pipeline. So cloud formation template is similar to your, you can consider like Terraform, right? Which helps in creating of infra, right? So all those services, whatever you are seeing here, can be created with this. Now there is a role assigned to this particular IAM user. So basically what is IAM user? I will tell. IAM user, let's take, my name is Singham. So IAM user is Singham, and IAM role when we assign. So this role is like access, what services I can access, right? What access I have in AWS, right? So let's assume that I have the entire services access. So I will be able to create, right? Now you need to understand, right? There is a setup. So basically you see there is a code pipeline. This code pipeline, which you are seeing in the gray color, is the entire CI/CD pipeline in AWS, right? And you see there is also a deployment rule which is associated. Now this deployment rule is helping us to trigger this code pipeline, right? Now, what are the components in the code pipeline? You see there is a code commit, code build, code deploy. So these three components plays an important role, and there are many other components also which are in place. Now, in this code commit, now a person is there who has triggered this code commit. Now, in the code commit, I already told you that your code will be present, right? This code will be taken up by your code commit, and then the entire process starts. Your code, similarly, how you have your GitHub, which is integrated with your Jenkins file, right? Similarly, you have in here in AWS your GitHub plus your build spec.yaml. Now, build spec.yaml is similar to your Jenkins file, which has various kinds of steps which needs to be performed. Now, you see index.js application.yaml. With this, you see there is a build spec.yaml. This build spec.yaml is similar to your Jenkins file. So everything is similar, but you need to understand when someone is asking how to tell them in a proper way, right? So yes, that's all about the build spec.yaml. In the next slide, you will see like what steps are there in the build spec.yaml, right? Now you see there is something like code build. Code build is basically integrated with your code commit. Now, once the code is present in your code commit, the code build takes that and it reads the entire build spec.yaml. And this code commit, code build has various steps, guys. This code build has various steps which reads via the build spec.yaml. So you see one of the step can be store the artifacts into the S3 bucket. So you see step number 3 is this, right? Once the artifact is stored in the S3 bucket, you see what is the next step. So here there is a one-step process where we are building. You can consider like in the build spec.yaml, there is a build stage which brings out the jar. And then there is one more stage which sends the jar to the S3 bucket, right? Similar to your CI/CD pipeline. Now, once that is done, the next step is code deploy. Now, in the code deploy, there is a certain number of steps which needs to be written, and everything is integrated with your code pipeline. Now, in the code deploy, where my artifact has to be deployed is given here. You can see like pre-production account, if there is one more account. So account A, account B are very much important, and there is a pre-production account. You want to send your resources, you can do it, or else there is a other option also from here. If you see, right, you can directly deploy to prod. Any kind of environment you are giving, your artifact is going to get deployed via the same structure, right? So there is nothing different from your CI/CD pipeline. So you have your GitHub, you have your pipelines, the Jenkins pipeline, you have your code build section, basically you have your deploy section, you have your artifactory. This resembles to your JFrog, right? JFrog, and everything is here. And CloudFormation is basically for creating your CloudFormation resources, right? And everything is there, everything is in place. So you need to understand. So this is a simple architecture where your code is there, your code is coming, this person is triggering the pipeline, and this pipeline is integrated with all the services, right? So step 1, it takes the code, it reads the code. With the help of build spec.yaml, it goes to the step 2, step 3, as you are seeing step 3. Step 4 is for deployment, right? And you can deploy in any of the region as per your need, right? I'm making it sense. Any queries, any questions, comment down in the comment section, and do hit a like here, right? So that whatever I'm telling, you are understanding in a proper way. Let's go forward. I hope I'm making it sense. If I'm not making sense, you can always ping in the comment section. Let's go to the next slide. So let me stop here. The next slide is all about your build spec.yaml, right? And everything, whatever I'm showing today, will be your project for the week 2. And we will be doing the entire AWS CI/CD pipeline as your week 2. Now you see build spec.yaml is very simple, which is placed in your GitHub repo, and it is similar to your Jenkins file, to your Jenkins file. This is what I would like to tell you, very, very much similar. So you see there is a version, there are phases, guys, phases, which means like install, your pre-build, your build, post-build, and where the artifacts have to be sent. Everything is like your key value pair. That is what you say like YAML. YAML is designed in a proper format of key with your value, right? You say like key. What is my key, guys? Phases. What are my phases? Under the phases, you have phase 1 is installation, phase 2 is pre-build, phase 3 is build, phase 4 is pre-build. In the pre-build, I can do anything. In the post-build, I can do anything. So you see Maven install is in build section, and I am sending the artifacts to some place, right? Target folder. Now you see everything is designed with this build pipeline, and everything runs in the code build section, right? So in the code build, in the next slide, if you are watching me for the another, let's take 5 to 10 minutes, you will understand how these steps are divided to 4A, 4B, 4C, right? And very, very much interesting concepts will be here. This is simple build spec.yaml, and it is mandatory for your application to have various kinds of build phases, right? So let's go forward and see like what are the other things stored for you. So let's go to the next slide, and this is the last slide, right? So let me bring everything down, and I don't want to make you confused. So let me put off this annotations. Okay, annotations I cannot put. Okay, so many things are there, so many things. Okay, let me put it here. Let me put my phase. Okay, I am the user. Okay, so let me put it a little bit small. Okay, I'm not able to put it small. Okay, now I will clear the screen. Very, very much important. Another 5 to 10 minutes, you should be understanding like what are the various phases you are going to achieve with your AWS CI/CD pipeline and how this happens, right? So let me again start. Okay, I want to show you users. Okay, okay. From here we will start. Okay, from here we will start. And I will tell you in a bigger picture what exactly these things are. Okay, so let me take this annotation. Now you see, close your eyes and whatever I am telling, imagine in your brain for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so we are the users. User is me. Singham is here. So why to fear, right? So users are here. Now the first step user is doing is he has the GitHub account. He is having a Git, and once he sends the data, so basically here your AWS code pipeline and your GitHub repository both are integrated. Now how it is integrated and everything will be showing in the coming hands-on classes in this weekend. I will be showing, so don't worry. But as of now, understand whenever there is a push happening. So this is the bigger picture of AWS code pipeline. You need to understand whenever there is a commit in the Git, right? So it automatically triggers, or your Git, it automatically triggers the data, and this Git basically sends the data to your AWS code commit, right? So you need to understand Git is a software or a tool which helps us to push the data to the central repository. Now this is our local repository, and this is our central repository, and this is our code pipeline. Now Git is simple thing. When you are pushing your data from your Git to the code commit, so basically it will trigger the pipeline. You can consider it like that, right? So this code pipeline has various kinds of steps you need to understand. Now step number 1, I've already told you, once you push your data or a code from your local Git repository to your code commit, then the entire pipeline gets started with the help of a trigger. Now you can assume the step 1 is triggering this. Once the code commit is triggered, the code will be present here. The code will be coming here. Then the build gets started. So you see, after code commit, right after the code commit, there is code build section, which has the build spec.yaml. I told you. Now you see, this is step 1 only, but you see in the code build, there are various kinds of steps, guys. So let's see like what are the different kinds of steps here. Now you see 1 is here, right? And you can see like 2, right? So this code commit has some data which has to be sent to the S3 bucket. So second is sending the data to the S3 bucket. Let's take some files I'm copying to the S3 bucket, right? So that can be done here. Now, step number 3, in the code build, there are various phases, as you have seen the build spec.yaml, right? Now, in the build spec.yaml, you have seen various kinds of phases, and you need to understand the step 3 is basically secret scanning. Very, very much important. You will store some kind of secrets in your code, and it should not be publicly accessible. It should be very much tightly secured, right, coupled with your project and everything. So Git secret scanning, again, it does all the secrets and your passwords all scanning, and it will tell whether your code is good to go ahead or not. So step number 3 is basically secret scanning, which will help you, like HashiCorp Vault has its own secrets, right, where we push our secrets and make sure like it is very much secured. Similarly, Git secret is a place where all the data is stored, and basically it is like your secret scanning. It scans all the secrets which are stored in your GitHub and your code, right? Once the scanning is done and it is given a success, right? Test secrets is the state. It move forward 3 to 4. The fourth stage is basically two components are running in parallel. Your build is running and your test is running. So in the test, you see static code analysis, SCA, and SAST, basically system application testing, right? You can see like what exactly in the 4 is happening. There are two components in 4. So one is your static code analysis, right? And static application security testing, SAST. Static application security testing is basically your black duck you can consider, and this static code analysis can be your, again, Fortify or some other tool, right? So once it comes here, you can see like Sync or 𝐏𝐑𝐄𝐬 is your tools which are helping you to have your code getting scanned. And like in our real-time organization, we use black duck, right? And here we use you can say like Fortify, dynamic application system testing, right? And you consider like any vulnerabilities coming here in the stage 4, we fail the pipeline, right? So we write some shell script. We say like, if the parameters are greater than 4, then fail it. If parameters are good, then pass it, right? So it's something like this. And once this is done, the build is automatically done here. 4 and 4A, you see, again, once this is completed, the SCA static code analysis completed, the 4A is coming here and triggering your AWS Lambda event, right? And it is sending some data to the AWS Security Hub. Let's think like that. After the testing, the test results are sent to the security, right? And it is triggering an AWS Lambda. Lambda is basically a triggering trigger service. Let's take, I want to send a notification to you. I will trigger a SMS, right? So similarly, this is a triggering tool for AWS, right? 4A is done. Let's see 4B, what it is doing. 4B, you see 4B is coming here, and it is going and it is trying to do something. Okay, not 4B. Okay, 4B, there is, okay, once the build is done, there is something like your deploy. The 4B is trying to do here, if I am considering it right, it is trying to send some data to your Amazon ECR. So basically, once the build is done, you will have your Docker image, right? So it will send the Docker image to your ECR. Now, deploy is very much important. Once the 4A, 4B is done, you see there is a step number 5 in the code build section, which is doing the deploy. Now, in the deploy section, you see there is something happening. 5A. You see 5A in the deployment section, it is triggering the AWS Lambda and again sending the data to the AWS Security Hub. Now 5A is done and you will see something like on top, there is a 5B, which is actually deploying to another EKS cluster, AWS EKS. So here you see whatever it is going to deploy, it is trying to deploy the artifact in various environments and various services, right? So 5A and 5B under the step 5 is done. Now, once this is done, there is a dynamic application security testing. This dynamic application security testing is done on the code dynamically. So what does dynamically means? It will actually test your code in terms of it is deployed and how a user tests it. It will test like that, right? So it will pass some dummy values and it will test it. So you see under the dynamic application system testing, again, 6A, you see here, there is something coming under the 6A and it is triggering the event AWS Lambda and everything is, it is sending to the security hub. 6A is done. And you see in the 6A, the code build, which is testing dynamic application system testing, there is a 6th stage also, which is basically OWASP. OWASP is basically a security concept, which will give you the dynamic application security testing related results. Now in that, you will see like external entity attacks and your password related things, whether you have hard coded or not. And you will also see like external XML ingestion attack, right? For example, suppose you have a portal, you want to upload your Aadhaar card, right? Suppose a hacker is there. If he uploads the Aadhaar card in a wrong way and he sends some hacking data with the Aadhaar card, which will burst your server, then that means your code is not reliable for these kind of security issues. And if you pass over this OWASP dynamic application security testing, your code will be very, very much reliable, right? In terms of your security features. Now, once this is done, right, you see after 6 there is one more component of 7. So basically in 7 you see there is something like, see, once the code is tested and everything is ready, right? So it is asking for the approval. So approval for the production deployment, how it is happening, there is a trigger which is happening and the notification AWS SNS, simple notification service, is used, and the user is receiving the email. Once the user says yes, basically user is a manager here, right? And he was a DevOps resource who has triggered this pipeline. Once he says yes, then automatically the production deployment will happen, and the production deployment is successful, right? Step number 8. Now you see there are some more components here. Amazon CloudWatch logs, always the logs will be there. Amazon CloudWatch events, with that events also the notifications are sent to the emails. And you see there is a system manager. The AWS system manager is helping in making sure all the systems are well patched, all the security related things are properly placed. If any new server is spinning up, it will take care of its patching, the deployments, OS kind of layers and everything, right? So yes, I am making it sense. I hope I am making it sense. There is something like runtime application self-protection RASP, which is integrated here. It is also one of the important factor in terms of your security related thing, right? So yes, you see, like, we have covered 9 things here. Now there is a 10th and the 11th configuration also. Now you see AWS CloudTrail, any user functionality. Let's take a user is triggering the deployment. It is stored in AWS CloudTrail. Any user action is stored in the CloudTrail. Very, very much important. Very, very much important. And IAM rules are again very much important, which are associated with what user has what access in AWS, right? So we have covered here almost 10 to 11 things, and I'm pretty much so sure you will be able to understand. Stay tuned in the week 2 projects. Project is all about your AWS CICD pipeline. So I hope I'm making it sense. If you are liking the video, like the video and share the channel link with your friends, and definitely stay tuned. Some big things are coming on the channel. And this is Praveen signing off, and meet you in tomorrow's video. Very, very much good things I'm bringing. It's not like I'm talking on the fly, or it's not like I'm talking on the go. Everything is like prepared well, thought well, like what I have to tell in order to make sure you should be able to put this in your resume, right? So that's how I am planning. So yes, so much talking has been done. Do watch it and get some useful things out of this. This is Singham signing off. Bye.